Now that the traveling for the summer is pretty much all done, it's time to get back to work and start tackling this bunch of projects. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog, Stephen's Vlog, number 417. August the 11th, 2025, and you'll understand in a bit near the end of today's vlog why I said the opening a little bit different than I usually do. But first, let's jump into the projects I have been working on. As you know, I just got back from the UK. Walter and I did. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But yeah, I haven't had a lot of time since I got home to do some things. So I'll show you some things that I may have already shown you. Short memory. Don't remember. Here they are again, if I did show them to you before. Okay, so the first thing up is the Christmas tree skirt. It is all completely finished, and it's all sewn together, and it's ready to go, and that is about 3 years of my life that I'll never get back again. Will I do another one? Oh, God, no. Do I like it? Oh, God, yes, I do. I did change the pattern slightly, and tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter, I'm going to explain that, and I'm going to explain something that Walter thought was a mistake, but is not a mistake on this one. So tune in tomorrow, Tuesday, for the Idiot Quilter episode, and all will be revealed. And I've also started working. Actually, I started on this block just before we left for the UK because I wanted to see what it was going to look like. And this is that kit I bought called Stormy Sea. And it is all batiks, and it is a variety of different blocks, sort of like a sampler, but not quite. And this is the first block, and it is done. It's a large block. It's about 12 and a half inches square. And I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. And again, if you look at this closely, you might think there's an error, but there is not. And again, tomorrow, the mystery will be revealed on So Chatty. They're not So Chatty, on the Idiot Quilter. I'm still a little bit woo in the head. Of course, most of you would say you're a little woo-woo in the head most days, aren't you? Yeah, probably. And it seems the older I get, the more woo-woo I get, which is kind of scary if you think about it. Okay, let's not think about it, and let's move on to YouTube Channel of the Week. This is a lady I discovered while we were in the UK on YouTube, who's a comedian, but she has this persona called Lucy Darling, and she's hilarious. So here's my review of that particular YouTube channel. This week's YouTube Channel of the Week is one full of comedy, and this is done by a lady called Carisa Hendrix, who's, I believe, British, and she has a persona, if you wish, that she creates on stage called Lucy Darling, and it is hilarious. I discovered this by accident while we were in the UK on our trip, and I think she's really, really funny, very quick-witted. So if you want to see something that's the best of possibly British humor, well, maybe not the best, but it's close to it, then do check out Carisa Hendrix and Lucy Darling. So you will find the link for Lucy Darling in the show notes below. Do check it out. She is hilarious. And you're also going to find a link for lots of things coming up. On Wednesday, we have Sewing with Stephen. We're back on track again. We're back to our regular routine of doing this every Wednesday starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, finishing at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All are welcome. Come and go as you please. Work on whatever you want to work on. And if that's not enough, there's still more. On Saturday, this coming Saturday, August the 16th, excuse me, I'm having a pop-up sew day. And for those of you that have been to the pop-up sew days before, you know they're just like a Wednesday sew day, except we run from 8 a.m. Saturday morning Eastern Time till about 5 p.m. In the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. However, one exception this time on the pop-up sew day. Walter and I have another event scheduled for the same day, later in the day. So instead of ending at 5, sorry, frog is coming in. Yeah, I don't know. Too early in the morning. Instead of stopping at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, we will be stopping at 4, 1 hour early, p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Time. I shouldn't say Standard Time. My friend Russ corrected me. This is Daylight Time, Eastern Daylight Time, regular time. Okay, whatever, Eastern. Put it that way. I think we should get rid of time zones, don't you? Yeah, make life a lot easier. For me, anyways. Yeah. So, come whenever you wish, leave whenever you wish, and work on something you want to work on, and we're going to have a good time. We always have a good time on a pop-up sew day. Now, for those of you that are brand new to my channel, and there have been quite a few of you, you may have never come to a pop-up sew day before, or have never heard of it before. Well, basically, all are welcome. Work on whatever you want to work on, as I said. This is a Zoom. It is not a YouTube live, and it is not recorded. And the group are extremely friendly. It's a supportive group. It's a no drama zone. We don't get into political conversations or anything like that. We just share what we're working on, our ideas, and our conversations go all over the place, which makes it really kind of fun. It's very, very social. So if you're a little bit shy about joining something like this, there is no need to be. Everybody that's a regular on there welcomes new people wholeheartedly, and it's a great place to get information and to be enabled to buy things. It always happens to me anyways. And also, if you're struggling with something, you need not be afraid to ask. No matter, we're at all different levels, and there is no quilt police, no sewing police, no judgment. So I hope to see some new faces, as well as the, put it in quotation marks, old faces. Don't you hate it when people do bunny ears? Unless you're doing a bunny. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good time. Enjoy. Okay, and there are links to my free patterns that I have written. I'm debating on that one that I showed you that I did for my sister, her quilt. Whether I'm going to write that as a pattern. I might. It's a pretty basic pattern, but I have had requests for that, so maybe I will write that, and it'll go up as a freebie as well. All of everything I do is free. Yeah. Just call me generous. I know what you're thinking, and you want to call me something else. You can think it, just don't say it. Okay. Moving on, there's also links to my friends' channels, and other links to the videos I've done in the past week, which right now, there's only been 2. So Chatty on Friday and Stephen and Walter Live yesterday. Next week in that section, there'll be the links for everything that I produced this week. Okay, let's take a look outside today and see what the weather's like. And I know we're all bitching and complaining about the heat. And it's no different here where I live in southern Ontario. We came home to a brown lawn. In this picture, it's just a little after 6 in the morning, so sun isn't completely up. Days are getting shorter. I hate that, don't you? You know, get up in the dark, go to bed in the dark kind of a thing soon, but we're well, the summer is going by terribly fast. But anyways, we have a brown lawn, so brown is the new green. And yeah, but rain in the forecast, not today, but it's got a high today of 31. That's around 89, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's hot for us. I mean, August is usually a warm month, but that's hot. And I know every place else in the world is suffering from the heat as well. I even heard a report the other day that basically we are having drought-like conditions. Don't you love it when they put like at the end of something, or ish? Because, you know, a drought's a drought. A drought means no water. But, you know, nobody wants to say the D word. It's drought-ish. It's dry. It's dry. Well, yeah, and people are getting worried about the crops, which means that come the fall, when we're looking for our vegetables and stuff, well, guess what? We'll be paying higher prices. At least the grocery stores will certainly be selling things at higher prices. And they'll use the unnaturally dry season to blame this on, you know. That's what they always do. But it's funny. Suddenly, if you have a wet season and lots of vegetables, the price doesn't seem to go down, does it? No. makes one wonder. Well, I don't think we have to wonder that much about that because we know what they're doing. But anyways, really, if this is climate change, and it is, then I imagine scientists are working on drought-resistant types of crops. I know they are. I've heard reports of that, but they've been doing that for years. And yeah, because we're going to have that. There's just no two ways about it. We've wrecked the earth. Now we're paying the price. Okay, that went down a road, didn't it? So this is what today is. We are supposed to get 40% chance of rain tomorrow, 50% chance of rain on Wednesday. Okay, let's hope we do have it. Usually I'm not sitting here and saying I want rain, but yeah, I want rain. And then there isn't anything in the forecast until Sunday. So, yeah, it's dry. It is dry. Okay, so that's the weather report from my end of the world. Let's talk about what's pissing me off. Well, you know that I just got home from our 10-day trip to the UK and to the Birmingham Festival of Quilts as well. We had a wonderful time. We talked all about it on Stephen and Walter Live yesterday. And of course, I put up a video every day from our trip, and there's a link in the show notes to that playlist if you haven't seen them and you're interested. So I'm not going to talk more about that. We've talked it to death, I think. Let's move on into what we're doing, now. But in the meantime, of course, when you travel, you're with a lot of other people, especially when you're flying in an airplane to get to someplace. And there's always all kinds of fun on that. But the expense of travel, and I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I'd really love to go there. Like, we've been to Australia. We've been in a lot of places. We have traveled a lot over the last 20 years or so, 30 years, 40 years. Oh, God, Walter and I have been together for over 40 years. Yeah, and in that time, we've traveled a lot around the world because we enjoy it. But it has gotten progressively more expensive. With every trip we take, it costs more. Now, travel's always been expensive. Traveling on a budget is a myth. Okay? If you have to travel on a budget, don't travel. And I'm serious. Don't travel. Because travel is going to cost you a lot of money. Or putting it off. Well, I'd love to do that someday. When someday? Someday never comes. One morning you wake up dead, then what are you going to do? Okay? So if you want to really go to someplace, you need to bite the bullet and spend the money. Now, I just said there's no such thing as budget travel. That doesn't mean you have to go first class. You can travel and travel reasonably well. And I don't want to use the word budget, but you don't have to, there are ways to save some money. But if you spend all your time when you're on a trip worried about the cost, you will not be relaxing. You will not be having a good time. And that's the whole point. One of the points, anyways, for traveling, to have a little vacation, to get away from the humdrum of every day and to relax a little bit. And if you're worried about every dime you spend, then, you're not going to enjoy it. Now, when we were in London, things were expensive. The pound is, everything we saw basically, and we converted things into Canadian dollars in our head. So 10 pounds was close to it was for about 18, 19 Canadian dollars. And already the prices in London, it's a huge city. It's like New York. It's like Toronto. When you're in a huge city, things are going to cost you more than out in the country kind of thing. But I got to the point where I started to look at pounds as dollars. I didn't do the conversion anymore because it was driving me mental. And as I just said, that's the worst thing you can do when you're on a trip, is worried about the money all the time. I also knew that we had the money to spend because we're budgeters. I am definitely a budgeter and a saver. I know you wouldn't think I was from what things I tell you that I bought and that kind of deal. But I don't have any more money than anybody else. I'm a pensioner. I'm on a pension. Okay, it's a good one, but it's not millions of dollars. Sorry that I'm dripping. Ew. So, I have a comfort zone. I plan ahead. And that is a key to, I think, to getting over the money worries. If you really want to go somewhere, start putting some money aside, a little bit each week, as much as you feel comfortable with. And then don't touch it. Do it in such a way that it is difficult for you to get at that money. Because if it's sitting there and something comes up and it's an emergency, we dip into that, don't we? So I have trained myself over the years to have earmarked funds in my overall budget, and certain of those earmarked funds are like forbidden. I am not allowed to touch them, no matter what. I am not allowed to touch them. And I get into a mindset where if I was to even be tempted to think about touching it, I would be repulsed by it. It's kind of self-hypnotism, I guess, or something like that. It's training. It's like training a dog. And that has helped. That has really helped a great deal. And it is surprising how much you can save. Now, yes, it is long-term planning. You don't want it to be too long, because you don't want it to be like the 5-year plan or 10-year plan, because things happen. But a year is good. So that's how we afford to travel, and that gives us a little bit more of a restful state of mind when we're on a holiday. So we didn't worry about the prices. We didn't go nuts on anything. But we enjoyed our time because we knew we were going to come home. We were going to pay off those credit cards because that's what we use when we travel. Everybody in Europe, they all take everything. In fact, we used absolutely no cash on this trip, nor the trip we took a few months ago to the Netherlands. Everything's electronic. Totally. We took 300 pounds cash with us. We never touched it once. There was no need to. Everything by card. Now you might say, well, why do you want to put it on your credit card? Well, the credit card is a good way of keeping track of what you're spending when you get home. It's a good way to take statistics of what things cost for planning down the road for other trips and things like that. So yeah, that's how we do it that way. Of course, the secret there is, I find for me, is we go with empty credit cards. We don't carry balances over or anything. We use our credit cards for everything we pay. You cash, my God, what was that? Some pretty little paper in my wallet that's been in there for so long, there's moths eating it. So that helps alleviate the problem, but it's still going to cost you. The biggest expenses that you're going to have when you travel are transportation, accommodation, and your food. Okay? Transportation. If it's a flight, sorry about the thumb. If it's a flight, flights are not cheap overseas. You might want to, in this part of your planning, to watch the rates on airlines. Airlines will often have sales, and they don't always make a big to-do about that sale. Walter is excellent at spotting these. He's constantly surveying the airlines here in Canada to see what's coming up. And if it means you need to book 6 months in advance, then do so. You'll get the best deal. And of course, it makes you a little bit more committed to the trip. As far as accommodation is concerned, hotels are expensive. Now, we like to stay right in the city centers that we are going to, and that's going to cost you more money. If you have the ability to have some transportation that's like, let's say you have a car or something like that, and if you can stay a little bit outside of the city and you don't mind paying the parking fees, because you will have parking fees and gas, of course, then you'll find hotels motels, places like that for a little less. I know a lot of people like to use the Airbnb. We have never done it. And I don't have any desire to, because it's like staying in somebody else's house. And yeah, and also I've heard a lot of horror stories about, you get this all planned, you put down a deposit or pay 3/4 of it, and then the host pulls out from you or double books it. And I don't want to be in that situation. By the way, a tip: do not use those Trivago and things like that to book a hotel that tell you you're going to get the best price. You do the research. Yes, it's a little bit more time consuming, but you check out the hotels in the area and the type you want to stay in, and you look at their rates online, and you call them and book your reservation in advance with them directly, because then you're going to stop the potential of having a whole lot of problems. The other thing too is we always book a hotel room that has a good cancellation policy in case something comes up. And in fact, Walter uses the cancellation policy to his benefit, because what he does is, just like he does with the airlines, he constantly monitors the hotel prices, and even after he has booked our accommodation, he will go in and check on almost every other day basis or something coming up to our trip, because they often put that same room on sale or put on a sale. And if you've got a cancellation policy, he just goes in, cancels the room we booked at the higher rate, rebooks at the lower rate, and he's got us some good deals by doing that. So that's a traveler's tip there if you want to save a little bit of money. But you can expect accommodation to be very expensive, and in most cases you do get what you pay for. So if it's a budget hotel, expect everything to be budget. Okay? And that's something that can give you stress on a trip. Nobody wants to sleep in a dirty hotel room or in one that looks really dated. Again, that all adds to your overall relaxation on your holiday. You want comfortable. Doesn't have to be luxurious, but you want comfortable accommodation. So let's talk food. Okay, food's going to be expensive, and this depends on you and your eating habits and what you like to eat. As far as I'm concerned, when I'm on a trip, I want to eat all the time and drink beer. But we found over the years that we were eating way too much. We would have at least 3 meals a day and 12,000 snacks. We would have breakfast. Now, some of the hotels will offer you free breakfast, which is great if you can get onto that. And more of those are doing that these days. And in many cases, the breakfast is pretty darn good. Now, other ones will want to charge you for that. Watch how much they're charging. In some cases, it is an astronomical amount of money for a brekkie. So, especially if it's just a continental, a stale bun and a glass of juice, kind of a thing. There may be, right near your hotel, there may be a coffee shop or, a place like here in Canada, in some places, states, like a Tim Hortons, a Dunkin' Donuts, those kind of places, Starbucks, whatever, where, the only thing you usually eat for breakfast in the morning maybe is a cup of coffee. So, you don't need to pay whatever the high amount is that the hotel wants to charge you for their brekkie. And do you need 3 meals a day? We found that we were putting on a lot of weight, and we didn't, because we were eating 3 meals a day and snacks, as I said. And of course, we drink more when we're on a trip, so that adds calories too. But then again, you don't want to be on a diet when you're on a trip, because you want to sample, food you wouldn't necessarily sample when you're at home. So what we do is we usually eat about mid-afternoon, around 2 in the afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, the big meal of the day, lunch. It's might be more of a larger lunch, and then that night we might just grab like a sandwich at a little convenience store, or we'll go to a local little grocery store and pick up some things from there and just, basically snack at night. And that keeps down the food cost as well. But food is going to cost you. So those are your three big expenses. And yes, they are expenses and expensive too. But these little things I've mentioned will help you to keep the cost down a little bit. As far as what to see and do in cities, look for the freebies. There in London, for example, there were a lot of different places you could go to. Museums, often governments, if they're national museums or something like that, they are often free. You may have to book a ticket online at the height of the season. We found that seems to be the trend. But that's easy. You go online, you book it, it's free, and then you show up at the time and day that you're supposed to be there. So there are lots of freebie things you can do as well. But I guess the bottom line is, and what pisses me off is when I hear people say, well, travel's expensive, I really wish I could afford it. Now, yeah, not everybody's in the situation that we are in, so I get that. But sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and say, look, I'm going to do this. Because when you look back at your life, do you want to have that many regrets? I really regret not going there or doing that. And I have another little psychological trick that I don't think will make any sense to you at all, but I have this little saying in my head when I spend some money on a trip and I'm having second thoughts about what I'm spending that money on. I'll go, in 10 years' time, it won't matter. And what that means is, if I think about any money I have spent 10 years ago on stuff, that money's been spent, it's gone, I've survived. So why worry? So yeah, if you want to do it, if you want to go somewhere, if you want to see this, you want to do that, do it. A little bit of thought, a little bit of planning, but you can do it. Okay, let's move on to, and people were asking us, how did our garden, our container garden on our deck survive while we were away? Well, surprisingly well, given the fact we had a lot of heat. Now, Walter had everything put in big buckets of water, and it did get a little dried out, but it's coming back to life, and I've got a little video clip to show you here of Walter tending to the container garden. So we came home and our plants, well, didn't do too bad, because this is a really hot spot out here. It's western exposure. Walter had them all in these big buckets here, busboy buckets, to keep them all nice and moist and juicy. Now he's rearranging everything so it looks more aesthetically pleasing. So the tomato plants are getting quite a few tomatoes off of them. They look kind of scraggly, but they're bearing, as you can see. The lettuce, it just sprung up like crazy. We took off a bunch of it last night, and we still have more to go. Lots of salad, have to have lots of salad. Here are the killer jalapenos. I made the mistake last night of cutting one open, cleaning out the seeds and cutting them up, and I didn't really clean my hands after I did that, and guess what I touched? No, it wasn't that, it was my eye. And that was not a smart move to do. These suckers are quite powerful. And the squirrels, surprisingly, have not touched our tomatoes this year. Well, they usually leave a little bit on the railing for us to know that they were here. Lots of peppers still coming on. They seem to like the heat, the peppers. Big one down in there. And then over on this side, we have some yellow peppers. They're a little putrid, but they came up from downstairs, so from under the lights. But we've had some of them. They're fine. You can eat them. Cucumbers, maybe our last one. I picked one yesterday, and there's one clinging here, but I don't think we're probably going to get any more this year off it by the look of this plant. The cantaloupe experiment is just that. Cantaloupes, apparently there needs to be a male plant and a female plant.
No, they have male flowers and female flowers, but it hasn't been producing any female flowers, so it may not have been the right conditions.
Oh, or we got a gay cantaloupe, whatever. And then these are chili peppers, coming along nicely there. Over by Walter is some parsley, which I have no idea why we're growing it.
That's not parsley, that's cilantro.
That's cilantro?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was parsley. Oh, well, okay. And then,
A sparse amount of onions.
what, is there onions in there? Oh, we have some little green onions. Yeah, not
They're
much.
in all sprouts.
And then the other pot, that's chives. I thought you put in some garlic chives.
Yeah, I did. They didn't ever sprouted, so I
Oh.
just took the pot away.
Okay. So, yeah. Chives, they come up every year. We don't plant them. They're a
Perennial.
perennial. They just keep
And they
coming up.
seem to manage. They don't seem to die in that pot. So
No, so that's the chive pot. And it sits out here all winter too. I mean, there's nothing growing in them in the winter, but they come back up every spring. So yeah, that's how our garden grows. Walter's just making things aesthetically pleasing out here at the moment. So that takes me to new products I may have bought. Well, I had a tripod for my phone for doing my videos. And I packed that in my suitcase and I took it out the first day we got to London and it was broken. I've had it for quite a while. So I made do makeshift kind of things I did to do our videos. But when I got home, I immediately went on Amazon and I ordered another one. And I didn't really need anything terribly expensive. So I bought this one. And I think it's going to do the job. I haven't actually set it up yet, but I took it out of the box and checked it. The legs are very, very flexible. They curve every which way, and I'll show you here. And let's see. It's light, it's compact. You can use it as a selfie. And if you see in this picture down here, the little legs bend whichever way. So yeah, I think this will serve the purpose that I need it for. And it wasn't that expensive. You can see here, this is Amazon.ca. Yeah, because I don't use this kind of tripod very often, usually just when we travel. So that's a good thing. Okay, and that's the only thing I bought in the last week. Well, I did buy some filament. Actually quite a bit of filament for my printers. Because, and that brings me to, can I print this effing thing? I don't have anything to show you. Doesn't mean I haven't made anything. It's just these items are secret. I'm making up a sort of a little package of interesting items for a friend of mine. I'm not going to tell you who that friend is or anything. I'm not going to reveal anything more about that. It is a secret. Next week, I will show you what I've put together. And I'm starting to work on some prototypes of different things that I want to give to people at Christmas time. So again, I will probably show you those items next week. So you'll have to tune in next week to my vlog to see that. Okay, so that takes me to an old past Stephen and Walter live video clip. And this one is about my first quilt. In fact, this was the moment pretty much when I got into quilting. I'm going to give you a sneak peek at it. Tomorrow on my vlog, I'm going to put it on display so you can get a better look. It's probably awkward here. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm damn proud of myself. There are mistakes, and Walter found them. Because he's Dutch and he lives. See, I told him today, if I was absolutely perfect, what would you do for a hobby? You wouldn't have anybody to criticize. So
well, no, I'm just saying that I noticed some things that were a little awkward.
only you tried to notice some. You're one of those kind of. Where's Waldo?
Well, my job was like that. I had to look out for problems in computer programs.
Well, I don't look for problems. I know where the flaws are in this, but that's okay. Oh, I forgot to add the last part of the video on it. Put the whole video I was doing of this in my process. Oh, note to self, must do that. Anyways, here it is, people. Without further ado. Well, it's hard. Could you hold on to that end of it, please?
Sure.
There, yeah. So I can. So there it is. It's about 35 by 35 inches. It's square. It has 25 blocks in it. The border, the one thing that I thought I was going to have the biggest problem with, but I practiced, and that was doing the binding, came out beautifully with mitered corners, the whole bit. Here's the back. You can see my quilting. Hold it, please. So I don't know. I used a variegated thread that has pretty much all the colors that are in this piece in it. So I don't know how well you can see the back with the quilting, but it is there. Now the quilting that I did was just what they call stitch in the ditch, which means you go between each one of the little blocks and within them. And I'll tell you one thing, there is one type of block I never want to make in a quilt, again, not at this size, and that's these ones down, where is it? Shoot, can't find them now. Ones with the little, oh yeah, they're like this purple block down here. See the little tiny squares? Those are a bitch to quilt around, because you got to quilt around each and every one of those little things. By the time I got finished quilting it, I kind of learned how to, go around, make it a little easier. Not like doing a row, cutting the thread off, stopping the machine, all that kind of stuff. But I am very pleased with it, and I don't care what anybody says. I think it's damn good for my first effort ever, even though it does have a couple of minor flaws. Those aren't flaws, they're embellishments. So events of the past week, well, we got back from the UK, safe and sound. There was nothing like a screaming kid for 7 hours on the flight home. Thank God for headphones, but even that didn't drown the little bugger out. And it wasn't because he was in pain or anything like that. It was that temper tantrum kind of whining through the whole thing. And the parents did nothing. Absolutely nothing. I understand now why windows don't open on an airplane. Yeah. 36,000 feet in the air, one kid out the window. Yeah. But anyways, we survived it, and we're happy to be home. Are we? I don't know. I wanted to come home. I was done with London. We had a great trip. As you know, on Stephen Walter Live, we talked about it. But then you come back to the everyday, In some ways, if my alternate self, maybe, if I had all the money in the world, I would just continuously be traveling, I think. I like it when you just every night you can have something different. You didn't have to cook it. I like that there's room service in your hotel, makes your bed, cleans the room. I like seeing the sights and everything like that. And now, well, I'm back home and I'm thinking, I need to clean my house. I want servants. But anyways, yeah. So that's all that's been going on the past week. Yesterday, Russ of Quilt Meets World had his sewing shenanigans, which is like my pop-up sew days. It's always fun. Everybody there was working away, and we had a good time, as we always do. I've started some new projects. You can see them behind me. More about those probably tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter episode. Yeah, there's lots of things to do. As I said, I'm 3D printing things and all of that. So, yeah. So that's sort of it. The events in the past week were basically like laundry, from the trip. Getting unpacked, all that kind of stuff, back into the usual routines. So what's coming up then? Well, you already know about the Pop-Up Sew Day this Saturday, August the 16th, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so I've talked all about that. My brother may be visiting. My brother doesn't plan anything too far ahead. Well, it isn't that he doesn't plan things too far ahead. He doesn't let you know about his plans until the last minute. So I texted him when we got back from London and said, hi, are you still coming out here to Ontario? He lives in BC. In this month. And he wrote, oh yeah, sorry I didn't get back to you. Yeah, we're coming out on the 15th. And I think they are staying for a week. And yeah, and I said, well, we'd love to have you here for dinner if you can fit it into your schedule. And he says, yeah, check with his wife and he'd let me know. Okay, whatever. Well, they are going to be busy when they're out here because they're visiting family, mostly her family, because my family's all dead. It's true. But anyway, so I hope that we'll be able to connect and have them over one evening for dinner and, catch up on family things and everything else. So that's possible in the next week or so. And I'm starting to work on plans for the fall retreat. Good God, the time's going by too fast. I still have to arrange, like, who am I going to have speaking and things like that. I am hoping to have that information out. The fall retreat will be sometime in October. Right now, I'm thinking probably the weekend after Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada. And I think Thanksgiving weekend falls early in October this year. I have to check the dates on that. But stay tuned to here and you'll find out all about the plans I have for that whenever I get them done. Okay, and yeah, that's about all that's coming up. I get my hair cut tomorrow, yay. I need my beard trimmed, I need my hair cut, and I'll be happy about that. Isn't my life exciting? Right. Well, when are we going on another trip? So just before I finish up here, I just want to thank everybody. My subscriptions have been going up steadily. I am over 12,000, almost about to hit 12,100, and that's amazing. I mean, yeah, I'm still small potatoes, but thank you for that, because why would I be doing this if I didn't have subscribers? Really. And I've gained about 50 new followers since the trip, with the videos from the trip. So, and I have a feeling a lot of those are people from the UK, which is great. Welcome. And if you've noticed, I just changed the name of the channel slightly. It used to be called Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter. Now you're going to wonder, why did I change the name to just the Idiot Quilter? Well, it's a simplistic. It's for reasons for simplicity, I guess. I used to call this channel just Bland Designs. When I first started this channel right after I retired 13 years ago, I was a paper crafter, and that's why I called it Bland Designs, and it was a play on my name. And I don't know if a lot of people got it, but if you think about it, like, you know what bland means. This is my last name. But bland, boring, flat, monotone, that kind of thing, right? Couple it with the word designs, because I was designing, sort of thing. And would you hire a designing company that was called Bland Designs? Yeah, I think you should paint everything white. I think all your accessories should be white. Everything needs to be white or beige. Yeah. I don't know if a lot of people got the pun that was there. But anyways, that's what I called myself for quite a few years. Then I got into quilting. And then I decided, since I was doing more quilting, well, I would just add the Idiot Quilter to that, because that was a segment at that point. Now it's, much bigger. But I know when people go searching for me, it throws them off a little bit, because I'm not sure what the search engine comes up with. But if you just put in the Idiot Quilter, you'll probably find me. But you may also come up Bland Designs in the Idiot Quilter, and that may throw some new people off. Like, oh wait, but he's just the Idiot Quilter. This must be something different. So I've dropped Bland Designs as just strictly the Idiot Quilter, and I had a little banner at the top. Not that anybody cares. Graphic banner, and I changed that. It was of an applique kangaroo, and that was at the time when I had done my first applique from a kit I got when we were at our first trip in Australia, or maybe it was our second trip in Australia, and I liked the way it turned out, so I used that as the picture. Well, people will take a look at that and go, "Are you Australian?" As soon as I open my mouth, you can tell I'm not Australian. But I thought maybe I should have my own logo up there. So yeah, I do. It's a piece of the logo. It's weird how YouTube does it. I might go in and see if I can alter that a little bit, because it really only took a little bit of it, and I can probably size it somehow, but I'll have to check that out and see how that works out. Anyways, from here on in, I am no longer Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter. I am just the Idiot Quilter, and some would say you're just an idiot. Whatever. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. Tune in tomorrow for the latest episode of The Idiot Quilter. So Chatty with Walter and I on Friday, and of course Stephen and Walter live on Sunday again. I hope you have a great week. I hope it's productive. I hope it's fun. I hope we get a little rain so we can cool down these temperatures and not have crunchy lawns. And yeah, have a good one. Bye for now.